But today, you guys are spoiled, spoiled, spoiled to have Jen Singer. She has been a part of the Keller Williams family since 2004. Real estate is a passion for Jen, and with her background in education and marketing, it is easy to see why so many families call Jen for help buying and selling their homes. She also spends her time serving on local school board committees, part of the leadership team for highly esteemed Leadership Lake Oswego, PTSO president, as on the board for her favorite summer camp. If it has to do with opportunities for children or education, you will find Jen there. So here's an opportunity for some great education. Don't pass it by. Ask lots of questions, interact, so you guys can soak up all of this amazing content.
Hi guys, I'm Jen. That was a lot. That was a big intro. Not sure. It's always make me uncomfortable and nervous. Yes, I have been with Keller Williams since 2004. I am up here in Portland. Are you guys in Portland? Where are you guys? Where are you all?
We have, Skylar and Grace are in Portland, Dee's in Southern Oregon, and Jess is in Eugene.
Okay, right on. Sweet. Okay, awesome. We got the whole state covered today. All right, we are gonna talk. Do you guys, I don't know what you guys have. Do you guys have all the materials? Do I have to do screen share, or can you guys see? Do you guys have the materials?
They don't have that PowerPoint, but some people teach without it. But
okay,
they
great.
should have
I'm gonna teach without it because I hate it.
Yeah, they should have a student manual. Jess, did you pick up an Ignite binder yet, Jess? Okay, so I'll email Jess the materials real quick, but everyone else should have them.
Okay, that'd be awesome. Okay, because we're just gonna jump into this. I taught this, I don't know, what was it, 4 months ago, whenever I taught this last, when it was offered in the office. I taught the same class. This is like my thing. This is my passion. 90% of my business is by referral. So strengthening relationships is legit my thing. Like that's all I do. Skylar said he spent the weekend making cold calls, and that like makes me want to break into hives and vomit, to be very honest.
That's hard.
No, it's amazing. Like more powered, like well done, good job.
Hard way to make a living.
You will have a good business that way. I just can't talk to strangers. 19 years in, and I think I've made 5 cold calls. And they've usually been when I've been training someone else on how to make them, because they're like, "Can you make one?" I was like, "Okay, I'll make one." Yeah, definitely not my thing. I strive, doorbells going berserk. I work really hard on referrals and building relationships. So let's jump into what we're doing today, because I want to make sure that you guys leave here with as much as you can and with as big a plan as you can. That's bigger to me than touching base on any of the stuff that's actually in here, is helping you walk away with a plan. Cool? Good. I'm a big thumbs up person. Do something. Show me that anybody hears me, because otherwise I'm talking to myself out there in the world. Okay, so we're going to talk about what your relationships look like, where your relationships come from, and what we can do with those. So the first thing I want to talk about is looking. Oh my God, people are moving. Okay, I think we're good. I think we're going to sit here now. Should turn that damn doorbell on, which drives me bonkers when it beeps. So the biggest question is how do we convert our leads from contacts into profitable business, right? So you can look at your phone all day long and be like, yeah, I have 1,000 contacts. And to which I say, great, how many of those, first of all, are you willing to call, right? How many people in there are you willing to actually call? I have people in my phone that I don't want to talk to ever. I have people in our database that we don't want to talk to. So you want to figure out how and what do you do to convert your contacts into profitable business. And if I would tell you to write down that one line of contacts to profitable business, or underline it if you're using the book. And I say that because that's the mindset and that's the voice that you want to be looking at it with when you're talking about what those things are. Okay. The other question becomes, what do I say to these people? What do I do in order to get them to be a part of my world? So when they think of real estate, they think of me. When their friend mentions real estate, that they talk about me. Okay. I want to ask you guys a question about yourself. There are people in this world who are natural referrers, and there are people in this world who are not. So I'll give you an example. If somebody said, what did you do last night? And you're like, oh, we went out for dinner and then came home and watched a movie. Okay. Or are you the person who says, oh my God, we went out to dinner at our favorite restaurant, the blah, blah, blah. And it's always so good. And then we came home and we watched this specific movie. Which one are you? Refer, number 2 or number 1? You don't say where you went or what movie, or you say what movie and where you went.
Probably number 2.
Number 2. So most realtors it's part of what makes us successful, because when someone says, oh gosh, if I could just find a house cleaner, and you go, oh my God, I have one, like I'd love to pass it on to you. Or they start talking about their roof and how it has moss, and you're like, oh, I've got a great guy that'll take moss off. Most realtors are number 2. Now think about your 3 best friends. Are they referrers or not referrers? Because my own sister, 19 years in the business I've been in, my sister's never sent me a referral. We're super close. She's about 6 houses from me. My sister never sends me a referral. And it's like, are you kidding me? Right? So think about who your people are, is one of the first things that I tell people. And figure out who are your natural referrers. It's a really weird word. It does not come off the tongue easily. Who are your natural referrers? And keep those people in mind, right? Because those are the people who are going to grow your business. When people talk about their database and they're like, yeah, but no one in my database is buying. Great. I don't want anyone in my database to buy. If I did my database right, I've already sold them all homes. I want to know who my database is going to send me to. I want to know, who do they know? Does that make sense? So it's not, this isn't, people are like, yeah, but your sister already bought her dream house. My sister legit lives in the house she'll probably die in. My dad lives in the house he's going to die in, right? My in-laws live in the house they're going to die in. So it's like my family members right there, whether it's having an elevator in their home, whether it's a single story house like my dad has that he'll never move, whatever it is, my dad, those people aren't moving. I want to know, who do they know? Okay. So again, turning our contacts into profitable business. I literally have stopped marketing to my sister. It took me about 17 years before I stopped spending money on her. So for the past 2 years, and every once in a while, she's like, you don't send me anything anymore. And I was like, you're a waste of my money. Like, you're going to buy from me anyway. And you never tell a friend, right? I have glowing reviews from her. She thinks I do a great job. It's just not who she is. Okay. So think about those things that you're not, as we go through this and we talk about how you create this plan that we're going to talk about, think about those things of who are your natural referrers and what do they need to hear from you to see you as an expert. Did anyone do something besides sales prior to this? Was anybody, you guys were all sales? You guys all did some sort of sales before real estate?
I'm in healthcare.
Okay, great. That's a good.
I was a lab.
What were you? What did you do, Jess?
I was a lab manager, like a research assistant at the university.
Okay, so the two of you are similar to me. I was a high school teacher. It took a long time before people saw me as a realtor, right? And so that's that whole piece that as we go through this, what do you have to say to people and who do you have to portray yourself as for them to see you as the expert? Okay, so that's the second thing I would encourage you. Keep in mind your refers, and then what do they need to hear from you to know? Because going from healthcare and a lab to all of a sudden them thinking, oh, she's really good at negotiating, like Okay, why would she be able to do that? Okay, so you have to start working on those. So before the end of the day today, I want to make sure that we have a 36 touch plan to convert people. I also want to make sure that you guys have messages for immediate response, MOFers, that will help generate interest. Okay, so we've got two big things to go over to get to. The biggest thing for you guys to, the overlying thing here is our mindset. Okay, people don't want to, anybody have trouble or the idea of even calling people you know? Is that intimidating? Because it's intimidating to me. And it has been for years. And I say that because you have to have something of value to reach out with, right? Because after 2, 3, 4 years of doing this, you can't keep having the same, it's not the same conversation anymore, right? So what's your item of value that you're reaching out with right now, right? What's your item of value that you're, what angle are you coming from that you're offering them something? And so when I say that, right now, for me, the biggest, easiest thing for me to talk about, people in my sphere, in my world know that my family, we go to Hawaii every year, love Hawaii. And right now the fires are clearly on a lot of our minds, right? We also have fire danger right here in Oregon. So little teeny things of the fires in Hawaii have me thinking, and I'm just calling through to make sure that the people in my world, A, have an emergency route and know where they would go in the event of an evacuation. And B, do you actually have a fire extinguisher at home? And who knows where theirs is? Because I swore it was under the kitchen sink, and it's not. Right? And I know it's a different kind of fire, but it had me thinking about what would I do with a home fire. Does that make sense? Of like, that's super easy for me to be thinking about people with. Right? So you wanna, the mindset piece is that you have something worth sharing. Whenever I can sit down and make phone calls and feel like I have something valuable to share, my phone calls go by super quickly. When I have no plan for them and I'm like, okay, I have to call these 11 people. And I'm like, God, and I find 42 other things to do besides calling the 11 people, right? So there's a mindset piece here, and you want to keep in mind, what value are you adding and why would they want to talk to you? Because 2 or 3 phone calls in a row that feel like you're just asking for business or who do they know, and they won't answer the next time. But when they feel like every time Jen Singer calls, there's something valuable, they answer. Does that make sense? Questions?
I think conceptually that makes a lot of sense. Can you give us some examples?
Meh.
Put you on the spot. Okay.
Examples of things that I call on?
Yeah, something of value you would call someone.
For sure. So like the fires would be one. When the weather starts turning, I call, and so I either will find out, I'll make sure that like Lowe's and Home Depot has like hose covers, and I'll start calling my clients the first time that I hear that we might be getting snow, and I'll remind them in the fall, turn off your exterior faucets and cover them. So I do some home stuff. I also can do things like, you can call around like farmers markets. If you're even going to be in a farmer, like I do a lot of the farmers markets. So like if I'm going to a certain part of town, I'll call a bunch of my clients. I'll put them on the schedule for that calling that week, asking if any of them are going to the farmers market, because I'm going to be there and it'd be fun to run into them.
That's fine.
Right. So it's very much thinking about either what am I doing? What's going, somebody tell me why my child is calling from upstairs. Literally calling from upstairs. that it's either something that I'm doing, somewhere that I'm going, something that's going on in the world. You can also have a list of it. Like it might just be back to school stuff, right? So if you have, even if you don't have kids, but you have friends and Sphere that have kids that are going back to school, you can call them in anywhere between now and ask, how's school prep going, all the way into September, and ask, how did the start of school go, right? So it's not just, hey, Jen Singer calling in from the Sold by Jen team. Have any real estate plans, right? It actually feels like there's a good conversation in there. What else do I call around? We do a lot of pop buys where we'll get into this as we go through this 36 touch. We drop off a lot of stuff. So then we call and find out if they got them, if they've used them, how their 4th of July was, because we dropped off fireworks or whatever it was. Bless you. So you want to just be thinking conscientiously. I try to come up with a topic that will work. December and January is always my goal setting calls, where I always call and check in with people, wish them happy holidays, and then find out, anything big that they accomplished. I love to celebrate success with people, anything huge that you did this past year, anything that you have planned, because after I do that in January, they say, do you have any big goals? And then I tell them, yeah, I want to sell 75 houses. How can you help me? So it's kind of that idea when you're strengthening relationships is about being personal, right? It's not the generic, I'm just calling for business. The other thing about these phone calls and the stuff we're going to talk about is that you want to be very, very authentic in all of it. And if and when you happen to be talking to friends or peers that you know well, my friends all know that I'm like, okay, hold on, I have to put on my real estate hat first. Like, hold on, I have to talk real estate for 5 minutes and then we can talk about whatever, right? So I make it very clear that this isn't just a Jen call, that this is very much calling for work. I blame a lot on my real estate coach. I'm like, okay, my coach told me that I have to reach out to people this week. So I'm calling, and I'll say that to my friends so that like I feel, and again, some of that's just an excuse, but I have to do what I have to do to feel comfortable making a call. Right? Okay. Do we know the difference between a lead and a contact? We've gone over that. Have you guys gone over that? Okay. So a lead, you have a one-way conversation. A lead is a one-way conversation. They're not responding. It's something that was a cold call. It's in a cell phone number that you got from a open house that you're messaging one way. A contact is where you've engaged in two-way conversation. Okay. Our leads have very little value until they turn into contacts. When people tell me that they have 30,000 people in their database, I'm like, yay, go you, right? You don't need that many because none of those people respond to their messages or their newsletters or anything else. What you want are people that are responding in two-way conversations, okay? Do any of you guys have over more than 200 people in your database? Okay. 200 to me is a really solid, great number for a newer agent. It's a manageable number. The people that are in there should know you. They should like you. They should trust you. They would probably recognize you if you passed them on the street. And so you want to be working on the number of contacts. Have you guys done the cell phone exercise? This is where like, I used to be the PC coach. And so I used to teach the whole series. So now I'm like, I don't know what session we learn any of this in anymore. Have you guys done the cell phone exercise where you go through your cell phone and you literally write down every person who's in it? Yes. Come on, Dee.
I actually did that last week.
You did last week, yeah. So
The
that's a good
email,
one.
address. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one to start with, is your cell phone. You put their phone number in there for some reason, so you probably already have them as a contact because you've made two-way conversation with them. So that's a really easy way. If you go into your cell phone and you go to your address book and you scroll all the way down to the bottom, it's going to tell you how many people you have in it. I was stunned to realize that I have 1,700 people in my cell phone and that most of them are not in my database. So anytime that I want to boost my database, you can always go back to your cell phone and add in the people that are in it. Same thing with the Facebook or an Instagram that go in, sort by your area. So Eugene or Portland or Southern Oregon, and put the people in it and start with having a name. And then your job is to fill in the rest of the contact. Right. But work on getting those. Yeah, work on getting those. Try and get your database up to a minimum of 200. It's a really beneficial number for conversion. Okay, let's see. Should probably figure out where I should be in this material. Oh, here's one. It's a quote that I always like. Today's conversation is, they have in here tomorrow's transaction, but I have in here today's conversation is next month's closing. I don't like calling my clients transactions. I don't know, it creeps me out. I like to think of them as more than that. And so really, really thinking about and working on what you do today is generating stuff for 30, 60, 90 days down the road. Okay. I just want to make sure I don't miss things. I hate that. Skipping all this because I want to talk about the plan. You guys know that 75% of all buyers and sellers only speak with one agent before they pick someone to work with. One. That's a National Association of Realtors statistic. 75% of all buyers and sellers spoke with just one agent before choosing to let them represent them. Okay. So if you get to speak to the people and you stay in front of them and they remember you when it's time, which means consistency, they're going to use you. So the biggest thing you're trying to do is you're trying to stay on top of mind. You're always trying to stay on top of mind because you want to be mind share. That when they think of real estate, the only person that comes to mind is you. I've had situations where people where I didn't keep in touch and people have used other people over the last 19 years. And it's super frustrating because you're like, but they knew I did this. Yeah, but I don't know what half my friends do either. I mean, my really good friends, I know, but I don't pay attention to the rest, right? So it's your job. It's definitely your job to make sure that you're staying in front of people. Okay. The best way to do this is what used to be a 36 touch program. I believe that's what's in your notes also. I don't know that 36 touches is enough anymore. It's way easier than it sounds. Don't panic. It's way easier than it sounds. I don't know that 36 is enough anymore because of the sheer number of things that come at us every day. This number hasn't changed. It was the same number back in 2006 when we started doing Ignite. That I just don't know that it's enough. So we're going to build a 36 touch program, but I want to make sure that you understand that adding in more here is definitely beneficial. Okay. Can we all agree to that? So the idea is that it takes 19 touches to just connect to somebody. It takes 19 touches for them to quickly identify with your face, with your name, with all of that. So we call it 19 to connect. We call it 36 to convert, where 36 touches means that they are yours. or we call it one to cement, meaning that one super high value touch will open the door for a lifetime of interactions. I'm going to give you examples of all of these. I'm going to do a whole thing with you guys on this. So 19 to connect is literally how many times you have to reach out. So basically what this is saying is that if you couldn't come up with 36 things, if you got in there 19 times, you now are identifiable. I'm not saying they're going to work with you, but you're identifiable. If you got in there 36 times, I think it's more like 48, but if you got in there 36 times, you're going to be their agent. That one to cement is usually the difference between you being their agent and you being their friend's agents. Okay. So let's talk about what those things look like. And before we do any of that, I want to talk about rewarding the behavior, not the outcome. Have you guys heard that before? Reward the behavior, not the outcome. So if somebody sends you a referral, you want to reward that behavior, whether that person works with you or not. Do you guys have crumble cookies? Yeah, I'll have crumble cookies. Crumble cookies is my favorite referral gift. Somebody sends me a referral. I literally go online. I order 4 hot cookies. They're delivered in the next like 40 minutes after I get a phone call from somebody. And my clients are like, holy crap, you move fast. Like, that's super impressive that you even thought of me, did something, and they're delicious, right? That's that kind of one to cement, and it's not expensive, right? It's things like, what else have we done? Silly things, dropping off leaf bags to clients, right? So you can take any of these things. The cookie one is what I do for all referrals. We'll probably do that for another year, and then my clients will probably get tired of it, and I'll have to come up with something else. It's I used to do a handwritten note and a little Visa gift card, but I was horrible about mailing them out, right? And so figuring out who you are and what the path to fastest success is, I was like, I can order crumble cookies from my cell phone right now. This is really fast. Sitting here in this parking lot, I can just take care of this, right? So figuring out that whole idea of what can you do. So let's talk about what your initial, we're going to talk 36 touches, and then I'm going to say dumb it down to the 19 if 36 seems like too much. 4 times a year, you want to be making phone calls to your clients. 4 times a year. Okay. 4 times a year, making calls to your clients that you break them out, right? So you take your entire database, whatever number you have. I would then divide that by 3 so that you know how many phone calls you have to make a month. Divide that then by 4. How many do you have to make a week? And then from there, you can figure out if you want to break it into 2, 3, 4, 5, how many do you want to make a day, right? And that's your formula for how you figure out how many calls do you need to be making on a weekly or monthly basis to hit your goals. And the phone calls are the easiest ones to miss, but they're also the most impactful one, and that will play a part in whether you are actually converting these people if you don't make your calls. Questions on that? So 4 phone calls a year. We can talk about topics in a second. There is 26 what we call touches. 26 touches. Keller Williams came up with this because they say that you should be emailing something every 2 weeks. So if you're doing that every 2 weeks, there's 52 weeks in a year. Now you've got 26 touches. Right? Then you have 2 personal touches. These are places where you're going to see someone eye to eye. So this could be events, this can be get-togethers, this can be parties, coffees, whatever you want to do, but 2 eye to eye touches. And then we have what are called 4 tangible touches. 4 tangible touches. So this is going to be a direct mail piece, something that you actually physically mail to their home. It might be, if you live down in Eugene, maybe you're going to do a duck schedule. I up here send all my clients in Oregon a ducks and beaver schedule, so they can choose which side of the magnet they want to hang up. Which side do they care about, the duck side or the beaver side? Send them the football schedule. You could send every person a market report, but this is 4 tangible touches. You can hand deliver them. We'll talk about mine in a minute. You can hand deliver those 4 touches, but you want to think about what those are. And that equals 36 touches. Good. Overwhelming.
When I first started with Keller Williams back in 2002, it was 31 touches. And now you're saying it's like, what'd you say, that high number? You said something like 40
So
something.
I'm in Gary Keller's top 100 agents in the country. So I fly down to Austin 4 times a year to meet with him.
Awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome. Thank you. It is amazing. I actually can't believe I'm not at Mega Camp right now. Gary is now, in his world, he would tell you you need to do 60 touches. There are other people who the 36 to 48. I don't think that you can have. So let's talk about these, okay? We're not going to talk about them in order, which is going to screw up your notes, but sorry. Let's talk about the 36 email touches or the 26 email touches, okay? Because the way that I've always looked at my business is I treat people the way I want to be treated, which means I will only email you something that I would want to get. Okay. So what information would you want to know that you wouldn't want to unsubscribe from? That's the way that I look at emails. I love unsubscribing from things. It's one of my favorite buttons to push. Unsubscribe, unsubscribe, stop sending me emails, stop sending me emails, right? So what do I do and how do I come up with what items of value are other people going to find valuable? You guys have to hold on 10 seconds. I have to open my door. My office is turning into like a sauna. Sorry. I tried closing all the blinds thinking it would help. Nothing's helping today. Okay, so you want to think about what would people not want to unsubscribe from, right? That's a hard question. Yeah. Who has a thought on what somebody might be like, sweet, that's good information?
Well, I guess market information, like that kind of thing.
For sure.
Market reports.
If it is user-friendly, right? So 100%, we send out a monthly newsletter. Our monthly newsletter is it's always like private remarks about that I always write about like what's happening in the market, or I just went away for a month, and so this month is about my vacation. And even realtors take time off. And then there's a whole thing on market stats. People like infographics. They like things that are very easy to see and easy to understand. You guys have probably all looked at the TMO reports that get sent out. I think they're ridiculously challenging to look at. They overwhelm my brain. Don't send those to your clients, right? Like make them pretty, make them something that, make them pretty, make them something that's easy to understand. We talk about, oh, there's 3 months of inventory. My clients have no idea what that means. How is there inventory on houses? Right? Like, what does that 3.4 mean? Even the news does a bad job when they're like, there's 2.2 months of inventory. And people are like, I don't get it. Right? And so yes, if you can explain the market in a thoughtful, easy way, that is a great touch and no one will unsubscribe. What else would people want to know about? You guys are supposed to be the local expert, right? Right? You're supposed to know things, like people want to know, when people come to you, they're like, well, what's there to do in this neighborhood? Or how are the schools in this neighborhood? Right? So if you're putting out information about the local, yes, exactly. Good job, Jess. This is your concerts, your markets, your city projects. What things are happening in your neighborhood that people go in your area that people go, oh, like they must be the expert on this neighborhood. That makes sense?
Yeah,
Am I
so
frozen?
this is your touches that, like, these are the people that know, like, and trust you. Can I ask you like a question? Like, for me, I just moved here. I have like 6 people that I know locally. And so my whole database is in a different state. So how, do I like make separate things for the different areas? Because I mean, I'm not.
No. Is that me that's cutting out? Is it me that's cutting out, or is D cutting out?
Both of you sometimes.
You sound good, Jen.
Wait, one more time. Is that me that's cutting out or D that's cutting out?
For
You
me
sound-
personally, neither are cutting.
Okay, great. Okay. Sorry. I'm like, I can switch wireless in my house. So here's the deal, D. You do not make yourself more work. You are the local expert, right? And all that means is that you read the article somewhere else and that you're now disseminating that to your 100 people, right? So that's the first thing, is that you just become the local expert immediately. So it's not about, and it doesn't mean that you've been to the parade. It's, you just know the parade's going on and people might want to check it out, right? Summer's a great time because, like, right now, in our newsletter that's going to go out on Wednesday, the 16th, we're putting Last Chance to Catch summer music in the park and the summer movies, right? Because there's like 2 more weeks of them. And so you want to be thinking about what might people in your area want to know about or do. D, where did you move from?
Bay Area of California, the greater San Francisco Bay Area.
I mean, you should, if you had a whole sphere down there, I hope you're doing a whole referral. I hope you're staying in touch with all those people and have a good partner down there to send them to.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, I'm trying to make sure they know that that's the way this should work now, that's the new program. So, yeah.
Okay. You want to make a 36 touch program for your out-of-state people. I probably make $50,000 to $60,000 a year on referrals.
Thank you for that information.
I make, excuse my language, a shit ton of money not working because I have a network all over the country. So you have a very captive audience in San Francisco who already knew you and liked you and trusted you. Do not let that go. Were you in Jen Rossdale's Market Center?
Beverly Steiner
Okay.
was, yeah, I worked with Jen Seidelman
Oh, you didn't? Oh,
for
okay.
years. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So you want to think about what those 26 touches are. So we do a monthly newsletter because it's super easy and that just knocks 12 of them off to begin with. Then our other one typically is market happenings, not market happenings, local happenings, things that are happening in the area tends to be our other thing that we have that we send out. We also send out emails for our classes that we teach. We teach a first-time buyer class, a wealth building class, and a seller class. And so anytime we're doing one of those, that goes in the form of an email. And it goes in our newsletter, but then it goes as another email. So getting out 2 touches a month isn't a huge deal. Okay. I will tell you that if you do not plan your touch, it will not happen. I did not plan my July touches. I left the country for 24 days and nobody got a damn thing, even though I kept saying, oh, I'm going to make that, I'm going to make that, right? It just didn't happen. So if you're going to plan on doing a newsletter, then you get off call today and you make a template for your newsletter. So all you're doing is drag and drop into a newsletter. Yeah. So I would think about newsletters because that's an easy one. And then one other touch. And then the next one was the 2 eye to eye. We host a ton of events all year, so it's easy breezy. Do you guys want to chat about events and what you can host? I'm pretty sure my daughter's streaming videos and playing Minecraft. I'm going to switch internets for 1 second because so hang tight. I'm not going anywhere. I cannot see you guys doing yes or no. Okay, hopefully that's better. Are you guys all back? Okay. This was a COVID thing that we realized was that we need our own separate internets, but I realized that she must have logged on to mine too. Okay, so we host a ton of parties. I don't even know where to begin. Again, planning for the whole year, or at least in 6-month increments, is super helpful. I'll start and give you a list of the ones that we do. My whole business started off of figure out something that you're going to go to or something that you're going to do, promote the heck out of it. And if no one else shows up, who cares? So my first event that I ever did was a concert in the park, free concert, didn't cost me a penny to go, right? I sent it out to my whole database. I was like, here's the concert in the park, the beginning of July that I'm going to, would love to have all of you there. I'm going to save you guys some spots. Let me know if you're coming. And thank God my parents and my sister showed up. And I was like, okay, I'm not here by myself. This doesn't look so bad. And I set out a whole bunch of blankets and sure enough, like 25 people showed up. I told them to bring their own picnic. I brought a couple bottles of wine and some plastic glasses. I actually forgot a corkscrew and had to borrow one from the lady next to us. My clients thought it was the greatest thing. They were so appreciative that I got them out for a nice, beautiful summer evening, right? The next one that I did was National Ice Cream Day that was in July. And I talked to our local Ben & Jerry's and I said, hey, if people come in with one of these little red tickets, can I just pay for an ice cream? And they're like, that's not usually how it works. And I was like, I know, but wouldn't it be great? And so I sent out an email, National Ice Cream Day, come by Ben & Jerry's between 1 and 3, grab a ticket from me, take it in and your first scoop's on me, right? My clients, the number of people that responded, oh my God, we totally want to come. Or the number that responded, we're so sorry we missed it. It was such a perfect day for ice cream. it's not necessarily about how many come to the event. It's about how many contacts, how many times did you touch people for the event, right? And so it didn't matter that they showed up or didn't show up. I probably had 20 people that showed up. It cost me $100 or whatever. But the number of touches and interactions that I had with people because of those events was huge. So this is where I don't want people to feel like you have to go out and spend thousands to host a great event. Okay. You can pick a day that you're going to go to the pumpkin patch. Invite your top 30 clients out there and tell them that you'd love to buy a pumpkin per family. Depending on your, again, it's all depending on your finances, right? If you want to buy a pumpkin for everybody, buy a pumpkin for everybody. I host parties now that do cost thousands of dollars, and I still do a concert in the park. Actually, this year we did a movie in the park. Free event. And the best thing about like the movie in the park, we don't even have to pay for ice cream. Like the city provides, like they have their own little thing. I mean, like literally it's free. And literally my family was going to go anyway. So this is where you have to think about what do you already love? So my big event became a Super Bowl party that ranged from having anywhere from 20 people up to almost 250 people. I had to get a huge venue, do the whole thing. Obviously stopped because of COVID and I haven't picked it back up. But it was like my clients knew where they were going for the Super Bowl. Like it was just a done deal. They were going to Jen's Super Bowl party. And it started out costing very little and then it cost a whole bunch. But it got me a lot of referrals and it was lovely. So you just want to think about who are you? What do you like? What do your people like? That changed a lot for me. Like I said, I've been doing this for 19 years. I have a 9-year-old daughter. So for the first 10 years, I wasn't a family, right? So what the first 10 years, my business was postcards of like dog-friendly restaurant patios, was best places for happy hour. So you have to know your clientele. Now my clientele would be like, oh, happy hour sounds great, Jen. What do we do with the 3 children? Right? But you have to know your, it's like true story. You have to know your clients to know what they care about. So I would challenge each of you to look at your database and kind of figure out who's that demographic. You're not going to meet all of them. I have a whole group of people. My dad's 79 years old. I have a whole group of people that were my mom and dad's friends that are in my database. Are they going to go to a kids movie in the park? Probably not. But are 60% of my clients interested in it? And did those same people that it didn't interest tell their grandchildren? Right? So it's not about what it is. It's about the effort that you put into it and how you do it. Does that get anyone thinking about what might work for them? You can do little silly things. You can do Santa Claus photos. Literally, you could hire a Santa and have them on your back porch, and you invite your clients in a 15-minute increment to come and take a photo with Santa in October so that you can give it to them to put on their Christmas card. Right? I just made that up because I'm Jewish, so I don't even do that. But look at the good Jew pulling out some good stuff for other people to do. That it's that kind of thing where it's like, what do your people want? Right? What do your people want? And you can't host someone else's event. That's the other thing, is that there's events that other people host that you're like, that's so cool. Is it like, would your people and you want to do that? Because if I don't want to spend 6, 8, 12 weeks planning it, I probably don't want to actually put it on. We did a trivia night one night where literally we contacted, I don't know why I can't think of the name of the bar. The bar space was free. It's over in Southwest Portland. The bar space was free. We just had to pay for food, whatever food was eaten. We didn't even have a minimum. I got 250 trivia questions off of line for free. We had little line pads of paper. I already have Sold by Jen pens. And 25 people played trivia. Right? Because trivia is awesome and I will play it any night of the week. Right? So you just want to think about like what do your people do? What do they care about? When you're coming up with what you're sending. If you miss the boat on them every single time, they don't think you know anything. The other thing is, I don't know your guys' demographics, but if most of your clients are renters, don't be sending them home improvement tips. Right? You have to know who your database is. Okay. And then the 4 touches that are tangible, the tangible 4 touches. We do pop buys where we literally drop off anywhere between 25 and 40 items every single month to clients. I am at a much different level in my business. I am selling anywhere between 50 and 70 homes a year. So you do not need to do that many. What can you get in front of somebody that is tangible? You could mail every person in your database a market report, literally mail them one every year. You can pick the one thing that you're going to mail out this year is a home improvement, is a 12 months of home maintenance and like a schedule. We've mailed that out before where it's a piece of paper that says for 2024, keep the sheet handy around all year and look at it monthly to know what you should be doing on your house. You can do one of those. We do pop buys every month where I'm trying to look around my office, but I think I just carried them all out to the garage, which is bad timing. That we do pop buys every month and we drop off presents for clients or for our database. Let me think. So July, we took a little bucket from the dollar store. We put sparklers and poppets in a bucket and put a little tag on it that said, we hope your 4th of July is spectacular. Love is sold by Jen Team. We took that around. So those were 4th of July. We did in June, God, these should really come to me. Hold on, let me see if there's anything sitting on this list. Of course not. Oh my gosh, what did we do? We did, do I have to go to the garage to look? Do you guys want some examples? Hold on. I'm ill prepared today. Sorry, hold on. All right, sorry. I had to go to the garage. I'm telling you, there's good stuff. My garage is like where all the extras go to like die. Okay. 4th of July. Little buckets. This one's kind of been filtered through by my own family, probably. 1, 2, 3. This was like $3.50. Pop and by to wish you a happy 4th of July. Hope it's spectacular. The Sold by Jen Real Estate Team. We stick those on their porch. This was for National Ice Cream Month, was a gift card for $5 to Salt and Straw and a Salt and Straw container. They gave us all the cups for free. So it was just the $5 per person. We did these which is probably December. Bagged up the popcorn. This was all from Costco. You get like 30 in a box of these little tubes. We open them all up. We put 2 in a bag and drop those off for was not Cinco de Mayo. Maybe it was Cinco. No. National Margarita Day. We did little margarita kits in a jar. For Cinco de Mayo, we dropped off individual bags of nacho, little nacho cheese containers, a salsa container, and bags of chips. All of my Popeyes are less than $5 a person. I try, or per household. I try and keep them closer to 3. Every once in a while they pop up, but on average they're about $3. And when I started, I probably did 20 of these a month. That's how I get in front of people and drop off tangible items. Is that helpful at all? Was the trip to the garage at least worth it?
Yeah.
Oh, 700 degrees in the garage right now. So yeah, so that's some of our stuff. What questions can I answer about that?
So you said earlier that you drop off leaf bags.
Yeah, so in October, we drop off leaf bags. We go to Home Depot and we buy cases of the, you know what I'm talking about, like the big leaf bags? Yeah, so we drop those off right about the same time the leaves start falling. And we tell them that we hope this makes their home maintenance a little easier.
That's a cool idea, especially around here.
We do that. We drop off one of the months. It's usually probably November that we drop off some hose spigot covers. I usually try and find them on sale before they get jacked up in price. We try and drop those off. You have to think about who are your clients, right? So I really spend a lot of time figuring out the demographic of my clients, and really try and figure out what is that age range, what are their, I was a marketing major, but like really what are their psychographics? What do they do with their free time? How do they spend their free time? And I've realized that, here in Oregon, for sure where we are, a lot of us like to get to the beach. A lot of us like to get to the mountains. So we're looking for the one-day outings. What are one-day weekend outings? And where can you go? And then when it comes to October, for us, it's all about where's the pumpkin patches and where can we go, taste apple cider. I always do a big thing about up here, we have what's called the Fruit Loop, which is out in Hood River. And it's like a road, it's a route that goes through the apple orchards and the pear orchards out there so that you can go picking. And so I always do a big thing on the Fruit Loop and where's the best places to pick. So you want to think about who are your people, how do they spend their time, and what would they want to know about in an effort to not have them unsubscribe.
So you're doing the Popeyes just to your actual contacts, not just leads. You're just doing that's
okay. So let's talk about that. So for some of you that are just starting, when you have less than 200 people in your database, they're probably all, we want to call them all contacts, right? Like they're all, you got there because you put them in somehow, they knew you. Then as you get into the business further and you start doing things like open houses, now you have leads. You have people that aren't contacting you. The best thing you can do right off the bat is to make sure that you're doing, we didn't have the same technology when I started. It was an Excel spreadsheet when I started, let's be honest. Are you guys using Command? Are you using Brivity? What are you using?
I'm just starting out in command because that seems like the least route of resistance right
Sure.
now.
Sure. Skylar, what are you using to track yours?
I can second her. I use command as well.
Okay. So yeah, so you guys want to make sure that I don't use command, so I'm sorry if I'm not calling things the right things. You want to make sure that you are tagging your people appropriately the minute you put them in. When you get to 1,000 people and you decide you want to clear up your database, it's way more work than if you had just done it from the beginning. So when you put a new contact in, make sure you're tagging them with a couple of things. That would be the first thing. So D, you want to make sure that you take everyone that was in your database that's in California, and I have one that's OOS, which means out of state. OOS tag is out of state. So that's where you might just put in, you might put in SF, like just because yours is so specific. Mine's not, mine's all over the country. But you want to tag people so that you can really, really sort what they are. So the first people you put in your phone were actual contacts, and I would put them with a tag that either says sphere or contacts or personal, something that you identify those as your original people. Then as you're meeting people at open houses, there's a lot of people who go through and they tag them with what open house they met them at or any of these things. You're never going to remember any of that. That's never going to help you. It seems like a good idea. Make a note in their file about what open house you met them at, but you can tag them as a lead and as a tag that says open house. The reason why I would probably do both is that they're going to be open house type of people. They went to an open house. So if you're focusing on open houses, you could say, hey, come meet me, come join. You can send an email to all your people in your database who have an open house tag that says, if you're out and about this weekend, I'm hosting this open house, right? So again, you can aim things towards certain people. It doesn't matter when you have 100 people or 200 people in the database because you still know them and you can go through and do that. When you get up there and you have 1,000 and 2,000 and 3,000 people in your database, it's impossible to keep doing that. So do it well from the beginning and give them a tag that makes, and give them multiple tags. Give them, people are like, oh yeah, I tagged them. And I'm like, no, give them all the tags. You can always delete a tag, but you'll never go back in there and put a new one in. So those are the kinds of things that there's a difference between a contact and a lead. So yes, my leads don't get any of that. My leads get everything that we email are what my leads get. My contacts are broken down into, we're going to do, so mine's complicated. I don't know the towns I don't know Eugene well, and I don't know Southern Oregon. But my tags are broken down by sides of town. Portland is broken down into a grid system, northeast, southeast, southwest, and southeast, and then outlying suburbs. So everyone in my database has a tag for which one of those quadrants they fit in. So that when I'm going to do January pop buys, I'm only going to Southeast Portland. And when I'm going to do February pop buys, I'm only going to Northeast Portland. Right. And so I've broken it down so that I know that everyone in my data, I know that I'm going to get to each of those areas 4 times a year. But I finally got smart and broke them down geographically so that I was not going from here to there, to there, to there, to there, to there.
That's a great tip. Thank you for that.
Yes, so if I was starting over, I would take a map of my city and I would draw it into almost like columns of what makes sense to do in a day. And then I would put that tag, you could call it area 1, area 2, area 3, area 4, whatever you want to call them. And I would just start, so if I could do it again without having had to go through 3,000 contacts, makes me want to poke my eye out. I would for sure label people. It also means that if you're doing an open house in area 1, you send out an email to all your area 1 people. Right? If you're doing an open house in area 2, send it out to all your 2 people and say, well, most of you aren't looking for houses, but if you do want to say, hi, I'll be there. You your database is, the database is huge for if you do it correctly, it's the best tool we have. Helpful? Okay. Your touches should be either building a connection to people or seeking a response. Those are the only two things that should come. They're either getting to know you better and giving you more credibility, or you're asking them to do something by making a response. So when you think about your offer for immediate response and how do you get a response, it's things like when you send out your a newsletter, that every single newsletter should have one line and it's the same. Would you like to know the value of your home? Reach out today for a personalized estimate, right? For free personalized estimate. Would you like a list of upcoming open houses? Like whatever your thing is, you want to do that because you want somebody to respond every month saying, I want to know what my home's worth. I want to know what my home's worth. I'm going to give you my secret weapon from the past 12 months from hanging out with Gary. I work with my clients on building wealth. You use words like, how can I help you build wealth? And people want to listen to you. Right? Granted, you can't just say that if you don't know anything, but why? So today I just made a video for YouTube on why your first home is your most important real estate purchase you'll ever make. Okay. I do videos all the time on the mortgage hacks. I don't know if any of you guys have sat in on any of those classes that Keller Williams taught on mortgage hacking. How can you pay down your mortgage faster without it being an imposition? If you start paying attention to those things, you will get responses. It's the same reason why we get 10 to 15 people that sign up every month for one of our classes, because our hook of what we're offering for free is so good. The FOMO for not being a part of it is too great. Does that make any sense at all? Yeah. You want to have things that make people want to respond. If you use lines like interest rates might be high, but I have ways to get them lowered 1 to 2%, call me today, they're going to call. And the way you lower an interest rate by 1% is having your clients do a 2-1 buy down. Right? So you have to figure out what those messages are that you can get out to your clients to, again, not only make you the expert, but build some urgency in to that process. This should be your one thing. If you did one thing in real estate, it's building relationships with people. When the pandemic hit, we saw it more than others. People are going to lean in on people that they trust when they need something big. Keep in mind, if you have 200 people in your database and you do 36 touches, you just did 7,200 touches to people. there's no way you're not going to end up with business. And then you just repeat it year after year. You tweak it a little, you make it in October, November. I would use things like your smart plans in your command to set this all up in your database. Just Command is our database management system that Keller Williams offers. In case you didn't know. Well, that was not supposed to be so fast or so short. What did I leave out?
Well, I have like 7 pages of notes. I don't think it was like not enough. I think it was great.
The biggest thing I will tell you guys about relationships is for someone who runs a referral business, relationships matter. People want to work with people they know, like, and trust. If they're only going to call one person, make sure it's you. This requires like some diligence. So I actually did it today. I realized that I didn't meet with anybody all summer. I have a small child. I wanted to play this summer, so we did. I made a list of people who I was like, oh yeah, we should get together. We should grab coffee. We should grab lunch. I made a list of them today. I have 14 people on this list of people who probably think I forgot about them since like May when I said we should get together. Figure out that list and go back to that original thing that I said at the beginning of who are your referrers, who are going to be the biggest bang for your buck. And I would pick one person, if not 2 people a week, to go sit down and have coffee with. Coffee might turn into, at some point down the road when finances are different and monies and closings are happening, then it becomes lunch, then it becomes happy hour, then it becomes dinner, whatever it is. I would try and meet with 1 to 2 people. It's going to knock out your face-to-face stuff as well, so that you could knock those off your touches. But it is very much a contact sport. And when I looked at this list, I normally have like 3 or 4 people on the list that like I should be setting things up. When I realized it was 14, I was like, oh my God, I need to go have coffee every day to get through this list. And some of them are people that like, oh yeah, Jen, we want to sell this fall. And I haven't even reached out again. Like you have to stay in front of your people. You also have to stay in front of your number 1 referrers to keep them referring, and then reward the behavior, not the outcome. Meaning if their client doesn't use you or their friend doesn't actually buy with you, who cares? You want to teach them why they want to keep sending you business. What questions can we answer? I'm not sure who we are. What questions can I answer? I think business planning is coming to the brokerage. I think it's in October. So you guys should go to that because that'll help you make this all in a timely manner. Last year I went down and taught it in Eugene and Corvallis. But yeah, you want to make sure that you guys are making a plan, stick to your plan, and touch your people. Don't tell Mara this only lasted 80 minutes. Are you guys good?
That's so
Can
good.
you drop your contact in the chat for us?
It's funny, I'm on an iPad up here, so it's like, it's annoying because it's, yeah, I am. Are any of you guys on a team or are you guys all solo?
I'm solo.
Solo, looking for a team.
Wait, who's looking for a team?
Me, you.
D?
Yeah.
I was never even offered that. Like I just had no one reached out to me at all for that. I probably would.
That is not my number. Yeah, I guess I would tell, are you guys, but Dee, you're not a new agent, but everyone else is new? Yeah. I would really pay attention, lean into the trainings that are offered. Don't become just a student. That's the other thing. People stay in trainings forever and ever and ever and ever. Pick one thing and go implement it. Like, write out your 36 touch. And then once you've written it out, decide what, and maybe you forget about August and you just right now figure out what are you going to do for September, October, November, and December, and map out your next 4 months. If you're gonna do yard debris bags, start looking for them. If you're gonna do whatever you're gonna do, start figuring out what it is. My garage looks like a storage unit for the Sold by Jen team. I store stuff all year long in there that I'm ready to use when that next month comes up. And so it's really about the planning, because the other thing that'll happen is you'll have 4 things in escrow and you'll have no time to do this. And as soon as you stop doing this, in 90 days, you're going to realize you have no closings. It's literally clockwork. It's scary as all horrible. So I did no work half of June and July. I can promise you that end of September, October, beginning of November will be very slow. And I know that, and I knew that, and I'm okay with that, but it's the way it works. Feel free to reach out if you guys need anything. I'm around all the time.
I actually have a question.
Yeah.
So my question is this: I'm like, for example, like Dee, who was, from San Francisco. I'm from Seattle, so I'm new to the Eugene area. I guess my sphere is growing, but I know a ton of people in Seattle, and I do have an agent that I work with over there. So I guess the best thing to do for that was sending like newsletters to most of my contacts in Seattle, and then kind of referring them. Is that kind of what you recommend?
Yeah. So I've never had another city that I moved from. I've always been in Portland. But I have clients that are all over the country, and I have a 24 touch system that I send out. So it's about 24. It's probably closer to 20. Let's be honest. It's probably closer to 20. So yeah, so I mean, every other month I'm sending out some item of value that's like, hey, remember, if you or anyone you know are looking to move in your area, I have this amazing network. You guys can say in your specific city. Although I'm not, if I were in your shoes, I'd probably say although I'm no longer in Seattle, my amazing network of colleagues is, please don't let your friends buy from someone not vetted. Let me connect you with the best agents in the area. And I would probably send that out often. I would also, because you have so many people up there, I would do the work, and I would monthly send out still activities in the local area. I would still sort of be a local expert until you realize it's not worth it. But I wouldn't let those people go. Like, if you could close 3 or 4 deals a year up in Seattle without being there, or in San Francisco, and still make, $30,000 to not work in a city, I'd like to make that not working all the time.
Right.
So
Yeah, no, totally. Thank you. I appreciate that. I was just a little worried, or I guess worried about the sending something, even though I'm not licensed there. So I was just like, oh, I wonder how that works. But you clarified a lot, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not licensed anywhere else. I mean, I'm licensed in Oregon and Washington, but I mean, I'm not licensed in Pittsburgh or in Philly, and I send everybody to Allison. And yeah, I send them all over the country, because you're not giving real estate advice. You're not giving real
That's so
estate advice.
true. Yeah, that makes sense.
You're telling people how to maintain their home, or you're telling them what activities are happening in the area. You're not breaking any rules.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else? I would also just tell you guys daily to work on growing that contact list and find something you like to do and figure out where it meets or how to get in on it. Something stupid like a book club or a stand-up paddleboard club, or it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it is. For me, a big one became when I had a kid that went into elementary school, was finally having, an elementary school or a PTSO. Figure out what your thing is. Now I'm super involved with our Chamber of Commerce in Lake Oswego. You just have to figure out what your interests are, because if you meet people that are doing something that you're interested in, it becomes natural.
So you're in, say the name of the place that you're in again.
I'm right outside of Portland. I'm technically Portland, but I live in a little town called Lake Oswego.
Okay, I have a referral for you, I think. I have a client that is wanting to buy there, so.
This is where I live. Right over there is the lake.
Good.
Tyler, where do you live?
I live on Skyline, so I'm not too far from you.
I like skies. Yeah, I grew up over off of Shoals Ferry in the West Hills. Yeah, I'd be happy to. Dee, reach out. I would be honored to help your person. See,
Yeah,
and you don't even have to work, and I will send you a referral fee.
Great. Yeah, they're loyal. They're loyal clients. So
Are they from there or San Francisco?
I lived in Concord, so Contra Costa County. Yeah, I sold their house and I was the buyer's agent on their new house, and now they're moving up here.
Lake Oswego, we get a lot of California people. It's one of the areas that reminds people of California homes.
Lake Tahoe. It looks like Lake Tahoe. Yeah.
A little bit with no mountain, but with yes,
Right.
we
But like
have a beautiful lake in the middle of town.
yeah, it's a quaint. Yeah, like Lake Tahoe is what I mean.
There are only 40,000 of us. Yes.
Yeah.
We live in our own little bubble that doesn't touch Portland. I always said I would never ever live here. My husband grew up here. I grew up in Southwest. I always said I would never live here, and here we are, living the dream. So,
You said you never live in Lake O?
I said I'd never live in Lake O. It's
Wow.
it's not my people. Like it's
I know.
it's weird. It's a weird.
Everyone that I know, like Lake O is like the only place people would want to live.
Well, okay, let me rephrase that. Today with Portland, I am very happy. Like, I shouldn't say this out loud. My door is very rarely locked. My car windows are left down. My garage, if I left it open overnight, I'm okay with that. Yes. I go for a walk most evenings with a girlfriend about 10 p.m. when it's pitch black out, and I feel safe other than coyotes. So, but yeah. So yes, Dee, I would be honored to help your people. You guys feel free to reach out. If you guys are getting your plan done and you guys want someone to look at it, feel free to shoot it over. I'm happy to take a peek, fill in gaps with you or whatever, but that's all
Great.
I got.
Thank you. It was great.
What am I going to do with my extra half hour? What are you guys going to do with your extra half hour? All right, you guys, take care and good luck.
Thank you so much.
All right, bye guys.